Hey everybody. Here to talk about the new film from Jeff Nichols, Mud. Saw it a couple days ago, and I'm conflicted. It's definitely a good movie. You know, it's a really good film. Just trying to decide what final score I should give it, you know, exactly how much I liked it. It's basically between a 7 and an 8. I hate to give like 0.5, but maybe 7.5. You know, it's in there. There's a lot I loved, but I think there was just more that I just liked, you know. I've definitely thought about the film, you know, since, you know, I saw it a couple days ago, and I've definitely been thinking about it, which is good. That's always like a sign of an 8 for me. But I definitely have no desire to see it again. You know, I get it. I think if I watched it again, it would just be to, well, I really appreciate the themes. The themes of the film speak to me. I did feel that it has something to say, that it has something to teach. So I think that's important. So that's all like 8 level stuff for me. But okay, Jeff Nichols, this is his, I believe, 3rd feature-length film. He's got tone down. You know, he's got it. You know, he had his tone mastered. Well, maybe not mastered, but down with his 2nd film, Take Shelter, which is, I believe I gave that a 6. That's here on Hefty Reviews somewhere. I saw it in the theater. I believe I gave it a 6. It's basically a film about a man losing his mind to schizophrenia. The man is played by Michael Shannon. I thought the film looked beautiful. Michael Shannon's performance is intense, but I just found the film to require way too much attention, and that just so little happened that you just have to actively stay engaged. Here, Mud does not suffer from a lack of things going on. There's plenty of story, plenty of characters, but still it finds time to take its time. You know, the tone is even throughout. You know, he can make you feel the way he wants to make you feel. He's a great manipulator in that way. I just wish that he could pick up the pace a little bit. You know, I don't want to call it boring by any means, just because I felt that the story kept me engaged, and I definitely wanted to see where it went. But it's definitely more meditative. You know, he takes a more meditative approach. He's in no hurry. And I just think it takes more effort to keep your audience involved and actively thinking. You know, there's a lot of times in this film where I wanted to think about me. You know, I wanted that it was like bringing up a lot of psychological issues that I wanted to think about, but I was like, no, I've got to pay attention. You know, I want to watch. So it, you know, it's just, he's got the tone down. I wish that he could deliver it in a better package, you know, a more tightly constructed package. But I think, you know, he's a young filmmaker. Again, this is only his 3rd feature-length film, and don't get me wrong, he writes all his films, he produces all his films. He's, you know, an auteur, and I think that that's, you know, to be commended above all else. But, you know, again, it's just like I haven't loved any of his films, but I think they're all, you know, good. You know, he's definitely a unique voice. Mud is about a man on the run who is found by two young boys who, could turn him in, could ruin his plan, or they can choose to help him, and they help him. They keep his secrets, and obviously he will, he establishes a bond with these two young boys, and he basically tries to get them to reunite him with his true love. That's what the film is really about. I mean, that's the backdrop. What the film is about to me is love. This film is basically got men at different stages in their life dealing with love. That's one of my favorite subjects. If the film wants to talk about the devastating effects of love on the human soul, then I'm all about it. I'm down with that discussion. And then I think that's what this film is talking about. And that's what I really liked about it. That's really what makes me want to give it an 8, is the subject matter. A person can be intelligent. A person could be highly self-preserving, almost to a selfish extent. But then love comes along and it makes you insane. It makes you unreasonable. It makes you irresponsible. It defies all logic. And I think that's a big focus point of this film. Film stars Matthew McConaughey. The film has a lot of great actors. That's another thing I loved about this film. The performances are fantastic, and we have two new young actors. The young boys. I'm not sure of either of their name. Neither looked familiar to me, but both were really good. They were just kind of surprising. It always surprises me when a child can deliver a rich, lived-in, fully realized performance. I think that's kind of spectacular, just because I don't see how a youth could have such access to experience and emotion. So it just kind of amazes me in any case. But here you've got two strong performances from two young, unknown actors. Film also stars Matthew McConaughey. He's on a verified hot streak. He's really good here. Some of the reviews about this film have been saying that it's his best performance. It's certainly one of his best. It, for me, does not overshadow the ravenous dog that Killer Joe was. Last year he had Killer Joe, and that is the performance of his career. Here there are shades of that character, and I thought that it was convenient for him, not necessarily easy, but convenient to slip into this mind space, just because he's similar to Killer Joe in a way, in the fact that he is mysterious. Just because this film is much more family friendly and much more, well, normal. It doesn't deeply disturb or haunt you like Killer Joe does. But I also thought Killer Joe was one of the best films of last year, and I don't think that Mud will be mentioned by me at the end of the year. But I don't know. We'll see. But Matthew McConaughey is really good here. He's just a damn sexy, fine-looking man. You can't really go wrong with Matthew McConaughey. He's just talented. It makes me jealous. I think he's a tremendous artist. Really, I think he's insane, and I think he's really good. So I think Matthew McConaughey currently can't really go wrong. I hope he really stays away from romantic comedies. We don't need any more movies with Kate Hudson. Okay, other great actors. Sam Shepard's in it. Michael Shannon, who has made every Jeff Nichols film. He was the focus point of the first two films, and now definitely takes a back seat here, but yet a memorable role. Let's see, Reese Witherspoon is in it, and there's another female character. That's one detraction I had from the film is, and I get this, but again, the film is about love, and from really the male's point of view, there are 4 different types of male characters, each at a different kind of stage or situation in their life, and they're all dealing with heartbreak or just trying to figure out what love is. Crap, I lost my point. And and if you're looking at love from a male perspective, the women are not going to look very good in terms of, responsible or nice. In a way, it seemed like the female characters, there's really only 2 major female characters in the film, but they both seem marginalized to being heartbreakers. They felt strong, they felt realized, they felt true to that situation, but it just kind of seemed that we never got too much story from the female perspective. And therefore it makes it seem like the women are, for lack of a better term, evil. That they're heartbreakers and that they will, rip your heart out at any chance they get, which, believe me, I've been there. Probably every man has, which again makes men connect with this film, I believe. So it's not totally weird, but I felt the 2 female characters were kind of marginalized into being, heartbreaking tools. But we do get to see that it's not easy for them. That's about what we get to see. We don't get to see too much motivation, but we do get to see that it's not easy on them. Reese Witherspoon is one of the girls, one of the ladies. I wanted to say it was Paulson. She's a very experienced character actress. I can't place her from anything except for the last season of American Horror Story, which she was great in. She was basically the female lead of that season. Asylum was that season. She's really good, and she's good here. Reese Witherspoon looks hot. Doesn't, again, have to do much, just kind of plays kind of a, bar skank, heartbreaker, just only in it for herself. But she's good at it. The other actor I can remember, and I was so surprised, honestly, because I thought he passed away, and I never researched to see that if he actually did pass away or who I could have gotten it confused with, but Joe Don Baker. Joe Don Baker's been working forever. Again, I had thought he had passed away, but yet he was in this. He was great. I love Joe Don Baker. He just has to make that Joe Don Baker face, and I'm happy. Here he plays a bad guy, though we don't really get to see him being bad. He just is kind of sad, and he just nails it. I just love seeing Joe Don Baker. There's another actor who plays the father of the main young boy. I guess probably the lead of the film, you'd say. I can't tell you his name. Again, very established character actor. The only thing I can place him in is at least the first 2 seasons of Deadwood. I gave up on the HBO show Deadwood. I think after 2 seasons, I just didn't want to watch anymore. He's the preacher, who I think goes blind. His eyes are like moving every which way, and he goes insane and he's always spouting the word of the Lord. He's always got that Bible. Anyway, that guy is in this film. So this film is filled with tremendous actors acting tremendously. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the performances. The story is solid. Again, another thing. Jeff Nichols is from, I believe, Arkansas. He makes films in small towns, about small town way of life. And in this, he even kind of gets out of the small town and gets into the countryside. And that's where I'm from. Anymore when people ask me where I'm from, maybe it's just to be a little, what's the word? Probably asshole is what some would say. But I just say, the countryside. I'm from the countryside. I don't even narrow it down. I just say the countryside. This film is from the countryside, and it perfectly captures that small town life. Again, he has an ear for that because he grew up there, and he makes me feel like I'm going home. That's another thing that I really liked about the film, is that he has a feel for how people in small towns treat each other, how they live their lives, what it's like, how they speak, just turns of phrases, colloquialisms. He just has an ear for how rural and beyond rural, just like backwoods people live their lives, just because he's from there. And I'm from there, and it really took me home. Again, I mentioned that this tone, this transportation to another place, he's got that down. He doesn't need much help there. I just wish it would click faster, just because I felt that some people were, distracted. I know that I, again, kept on wanting to think about my love, my pain. And I was like, no, now is not the time for that. I have to stay in with the story just because, it's a little slow. And again, it's meditative. But you just have to keep reminding yourself, no, you're supposed to meditate on these subjects after the film is over. The film looks beautiful. Again, it takes you to the place. It's absolutely gorgeous. The production design is A+. Even listening to myself, I think I should give it an 8. And I have no problems if I say it's an 8, but I don't know. It just seems, but I don't want to see it again. I got it. I think I got it. There were no twists and turns. It's definitely not confusing. It's straightforward. You could call it easily accessible. If Take Shelter was not accessible, I thought it was, but it was an odd film. If you consider Take Shelter inaccessible, then you would definitely not have that problem with Mud. I don't know what else to say. I think I really hit on all the things I wanted to talk about. And really, you can talk about it a lot, so I think that really says something. I definitely think it's one of the better films to come along this year. So far, it's definitely a highlight of the year. So definitely check it out. Any Matthew McConaughey fans, completists, this is a must-see. He's very good. It's spiritual. It has, it has a great way of analyzing something that really can't be analyzed, and that's love. So I don't really know what else to say. I think I've hit all my big points, but I enjoyed the film. I just think that I got it. I think I'm good. So again, that 7 is fine, but I don't know, maybe 8. I kind of feel guilty not giving it an 8. Okay, so let's settle on that. So that's the new Jeff Nichols film, Mud, and looks like I'm giving it an 8. Thanks much.